You're not in love. You're in projection. You're not dating a person. You're dating your wounds, dressed up in someone else's face. Sounds harsh? Carl Jung thought it was the brutal truth most people never want to hear. He believed that most relationships aren't built on love. They're built on unconscious illusions. You're not falling for who someone is. You're falling for what they symbolize in your psyche, your missing piece, your emotional savior, your fantasy. And when that illusion breaks, so does the relationship. Now pause. Let's flip this from theory to your life. You ever met a guy and thought, he feels so strong, so grounded, he makes me feel safe. And then, a few months later, he's emotionally distant, doesn't know what he wants, and suddenly you're the one holding the entire relationship together. That wasn't him changing. That was your projection fading. Carl Jung would say, you weren't in love with the man. You were in love with your inner need for stability, and he just happened to carry the face of it. For a while. Jung believed that deep inside each of us there are ancient psychological forces, shaped by myths, childhood memories, cultural stories, and the dreams we never dared to speak aloud. He called them archetypes. For men, one of the most powerful is the Anima, the inner image of femininity. For women, it's the Animus, the inner image of masculinity. These inner figures are not people. They're not types you swipe on. They are energy forms in the unconscious. And they're powerful. Because when we meet someone in real life who even slightly resembles our inner image, we project that archetype onto them. That's not love. That's symbolic possession. You don't fall in love with them. You fall in love with the version of you that you believe you've found in them. That's why so many relationships collapse, not with a bang, but with a quiet confusion. Why did it feel so real in the beginning? Why can't they be who I thought they were? The answer, because they never were, but your unconscious needed them to be. Jung believed this fantasy projection dynamic is not a flaw, it's a feature of the psyche. But left unchecked, it becomes dangerous. Because when the illusion fades, we don't just lose the other person, we lose our fantasy, and most people confuse that for betrayal. Let's be real. Most men don't fall in love with a woman. They fall in love with the symbol she represents. She's calm. He sees peace he never found inside himself. She's intuitive. He sees the wisdom he's disconnected from. She's nurturing. He sees the mother he craved but never felt fully safe with. This isn't love. This is emotional outsourcing. Carl Jung warned that until a man meets his anima, the inner feminine energy he repressed, rejected, or never understood, he will project it onto every woman he dates. He won't see her. He'll see a savior, a goddess, a muse, and he'll fall deeply, madly into that illusion, until she stops performing it. And then, it collapses. The passion becomes resentment. The sweetness turns into blame. You ever heard a guy say, "She used to be different. I don't know what happened. She changed." Did she? Or did the mirror he needed her to be finally crack? If you're watching this and you're a man, ask yourself, did you fall in love with her or with the peace she made you feel? Are you drawn to her softness because you crave softness in yourself, but never gave yourself permission to feel it? And ladies, have you ever had to carry a man's emotions for him? Like he dumped the weight of his inner world on you and expected you to be his therapist, his center, his calm? That's not connection. That's projection. And it's exhausting. Jung believed that when men don't integrate their anima, they stay psychologically immature. They stay in boy mode, romanticizing instead of relating, worshiping instead of understanding, clinging instead of connecting. They look to women not as equals, but as containers for their emotional healing. And when the woman pushes back, when she dares to be human, they feel lost, betrayed, confused. But here's the deeper truth. She was never supposed to carry that for you. Your anima is not out there. She's inside you. The softness you seek in women, It's the softness you haven't accepted in yourself. The calm, the warmth, the intuition. Those are not hers to give. They are yours to develop. That's the work Jung called for. Inner integration. Not idolizing a woman because she seems to complete you, but asking, what part of me have I abandoned that makes me need her so badly? Let's pause for a second. If you're a woman watching, comment below if you've ever been in a relationship where you felt more like a symbol than a person. Have you ever had to be the perfect woman just to hold the relationship together? And if you're a man, what's a quality you admire in women that you secretly wish you could express more in yourself? The comment section is your mirror. Because here's what most people get wrong. Real love doesn't feel like being swept away. It feels like waking up. It's not fireworks, it's clarity. And clarity comes only after you stop falling for reflections and start facing your own reflection within. Let's flip the mirror now. This time, let's talk to the women. Have you ever met a man and thought, finally, someone strong, someone who gets it, someone who can protect me from the chaos of life? He was grounded. He had a plan. He looked like he had it all together. You felt safe, finally. But months later, the cracks began to show. He pulled away emotionally. He got cold, defensive. He didn't understand your needs, or worse, dismissed them. You felt hurt, confused, and then disappointed. Not because he was cruel, but because he wasn't who you thought he was. What happened? Carl Jung had an answer. He said what you fell in love with wasn't the man. It was your animus, the masculine archetype inside every woman. The animus appears in dreams and fantasies as a strong, capable figure, a guide, a protector, a voice of logic and direction. And when a man in real life matches even a little bit of that image, your psyche lights up. Your heart leaps. It's not just him. It's what he represents. You're not falling in love with the guy. You're falling in love with what he mirrors back to you. The inner structure you've always longed to develop in yourself. Now here's the problem. No man can carry your entire animus. He's not a symbol. He's a human. But if you mistake the symbol for the person, you will eventually feel betrayed. You wanted strength, and he showed vulnerability. You wanted protection, and he got overwhelmed. You wanted answers, and he had none. He didn't fail. He just couldn't hold your fantasy anymore. Women, be honest. Have you ever placed a man on a pedestal, only to be disappointed when he turned out to be just a man? Have you ever thought, I thought he was so confident, now he's emotionally distant? Or, I thought he was strong, now he's falling apart? That disillusionment? It's not his failure, it's the collapse of projection. But here's the powerful part Jung taught. When the projection breaks, you have a choice. Do you blame him, or do you begin the work of integrating your own animus? Because maybe the strength you saw in him was the strength you needed to find inside you. Maybe you craved his direction because you were afraid to trust your own. Maybe what drew you in wasn't him at all, but your potential, disguised as a man. Drop a comment if this hits. Women, what's one hero trait you looked for in a man but realized you needed to cultivate in yourself? And men, have you ever felt crushed because a woman expected you to be her savior? We've all lived this dynamic. It's not wrong. It's human. But Jung's message is clear. If we don't take back our projections, we will keep falling in love with illusions and blaming people for breaking them. True connection begins when we stop outsourcing our power and start owning it. Let's be honest. Most of what we call love isn't love. It's projection. We fall in love with our own unconscious images, our anima, our animus, our fantasies. We don't see the other person. We see what we need, what we've repressed, what we never gave ourselves. And when they can no longer hold our illusion, we say they changed. But they didn't. The illusion broke. Carl Jung believed that this is the source of most heartbreak. not betrayal, not incompatibility, but the collapse of a fantasy that never should have been projected in the first place. So what's the way out? It's not to stop loving. It's to start loving with open eyes. The moment your projection shatters, that's your turning point. Yes, it hurts. It can feel like death. But it's not the death of love. It's the death of illusion. And that's the only way real intimacy begins. You don't need someone to complete you. You need someone who reminds you you were never half in the first place. This is where Jung's greatest idea comes in: individuation. It's the lifelong journey of becoming whole, of meeting your shadow, of reclaiming your projections, of integrating your masculine and feminine energies. It means you stop asking your partner to fix your childhood, to carry your wounds, to fulfill your unmet needs. You stop falling for their potential and start seeing their reality. You stop asking them to be your fantasy and let them be human. And you finally begin to become human too. Let me ask you directly, have you ever stayed in a relationship just because you were in love with who they used to be? Or worse, who you thought they were? That's not love. That's memory. That's projection. But if you've ever looked at someone after the illusion broke and still chose to stay, that's love. That's presence. That's real. And you can only get there by walking the path of Jungian growth. So here's your invitation. Stop chasing the one. Start becoming the one. The one who can love with clarity, with courage, with self-awareness. Because until you do, you're not loving them. You're chasing your own shadow. If you're ready to withdraw your projections, to stop chasing the fantasy and start building something real, let me know in the comments. And if this video hit something deep inside you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who's stuck in a loop of projection and disappointment. In the next video, we'll go deeper into the shadow, how everything you hate in your partner might actually live inside you, and that truth might just set you free.